And I'd like to thank Ms. Salinas for coming out and talking about the National Night Out. My name is Michael Cargill. I'm the owner of Central Texas Gunworks. I'm not here to talk about my Central Texas Gunworks. I'm here to talk to you about some community things that I like to see us focusing on. And one of those things is going to be getting tested for HIV. There's a big problem in our community, especially in the black community, with black females, there's a rise in HIV in this community. And what I would like for us to do is come out, get tested, know our status, so that way we can try to fight this disease and reduce HIV and AIDS in our community. And then also, I like to talk about gun safety, firearm safety. In the state of Texas, there's a penal code, and it's called Penal Code Section 46.13, and it talks about allowing a child to get access to a firearm or an unauthorized individual. And the state of Texas is very strict about that, and I want to encourage people to keep firearms away from children. Make sure they are locked. You know, if you're going to have them in your vehicle, lock them in your vehicle. Inside your home, lock them in your home. So, in that law, the way it works in the state of Texas is if you allow a child to get access to a firearm and no one's injured, is not discharged, you will get charged with a Class C misdemeanor. But in the state of Texas, if you allow a child to get access to a firearm, it's discharged, and someone else is injured, you're going to get charged with a Class A. And if you allow a child to get access to a firearm, they shoot themselves, kill themselves, shoots or kills another one of your kids, the state of Texas is nice. They will give you 7 days to go and bury your child before they come and arrest you and charge you with a Class A. So lock those firearms out and keep kids from getting access to them. As a whole, crime has actually gone down in the state of Texas. I think that what we need to focus on between different individuals, instead of focusing on race and trying to divide the nation, I think we should focus on communication and de-escalation of situations. Because I take the case of the George Zimmerman, Trayvon Martin, I take that case and I in my concealed handgun classes, I'll ask my students, you know, could that have been avoided? And everyone will say, yes, that could have been avoided. So then I'll ask them, well, then how could that have been avoided? And then they'll say, well, George Zimmerman could have stayed in the vehicle. They'll say, what I try to do is I try to get them to look at it in both eyes. Look at it from Trayvon Martin's eyes, what he was seeing and what he was experiencing and what he thought, and then look at it from George Zimmerman's eyes, what he was seeing and what he felt and thought. And so I say, well, let's look at Trayvon Martin. What do you think he was seeing? And then I'll point them down the road and say, okay, well, he's on the telephone. He's coming from a store. He's on the phone talking to his girlfriend or a girl, and he's walking slow because kids do that, and he went to the store to buy himself some candy. So he's looking at a guy who's following him, and he's thinking, okay, why is this guy following me? Is this guy a pedophile? Is this guy someone that's trying to sexually assault me or something like that? And that's what he was seeing. Then I turned around and I said, okay, well, let's look at it through the eyes of George Zimmerman. George Zimmerman is looking at this guy and says, look, we've had crime in our neighborhood, and, people are breaking into homes, breaking into cars. Is this guy one of those people that is getting ready to commit a crime? And so he's watching him. He's calling the non-emergency number to call the police and say, hey, you guys might want to send a car over here because this guy's probably breaking into the vehicles or getting ready to break into a vehicle or break into a home. And so, he starts watching him, he follows him, and that's what, George is looking at. Well, then and both of them at that point, Trayvon Martin could have continued on and went home. George Zimmerman could have stayed in his vehicle and gone home and let the police handle it. But instead, something happened where they intersected and they met. And at that point, that's when your communication skills could come into play. One person could have said, hey, how you doing? I'm here in the neighborhood watch. Is there anything I can help you with? Are you lost? Do you need assistance? The other person could have said, "Hey, how you doing? I just walk, I'm on the phone talking to my girlfriend, and I'm just not ready to go home right now. I want to spend more time on the telephone in private before I go home." There was a breakdown in communication. Instead, none of that happened. Instead, someone said something else, someone did something, and a confrontation ensued. And then one person was in fear of losing their life. They had a gun on them and used it. So the breakdown in our community is definitely communication and understanding each other for each other's differences. My name is Michael Cargill. Go out, get tested, and know your status. Let's stop HIV, AIDS, and keep guns away from children.